and they can just come right over. And now we're live.
And now we're live. First live show.
Jim Dunaway in the arena.
John Lunsford
and
Lance Taylor.
I forgot my charger.
Coming through, getting a charger.
This
is.
Are y'all live?
Yeah.
And we are. Say hello.
Say hello.
What's up?
Anything you want to say about the Dodgers?
I can't believe how good the Phillies are right now. That's all I can say.
Okay,
So,
I love
I'm
him.
scared though.
Lance Taylor believing in that Phillies hype. Buster kind of.
He touched on it.
He did.
And he agrees with us.
He agrees with you. Yeah.
That's incredible.
I know.
I'm excited about that. Okay, let me get all this retweeted. Lunsford. Does it sound good?
Huh?
How do I get this where it needs to go? This is a multi-person operation, and we appreciate all the people that help us with this.
Yeah, John Lunsford, Johnny on the spot here.
Yeah.
John Lunsford, who is A, smart, B, has great hair.
Yes, he has fabulous hair if you didn't know.
Yeah, he may be the winner of best hair in this company.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, you can watch it on The Meltdown today at 2. Are you wearing a hat today, though? He is wearing a hat, so you may have to tune in tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow we can get him to go hatless. Meltdown every day, 2 o'clock. Make sure you're subscribing to that.
Yep.
Very fun. Okay.
Okay, let's get started. So we're chatting the best city connect by Lunsford. Thank you.
Yeah. Friend of the show, Golf Gardner, had this question. First off, Don Thomas. Don says, love the show. Don, thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so much.
that. SK, nice hat, Mr. Sis. Thank you. This is the Braves batting practice hat for this year, and it's a New Era 5950, but it's the low profile 5950, and it's that lighter material than the wool. So I really like it. So thank you very much. And even our friend of friends, Tim Melton, chiming in. So thank you very much, Tim.
Okay, we spent some time thinking about this, and we have some that overlap actually.
Yeah.
But I was tasked with rating the best City Connect jerseys. Play along with us, ask us questions about why we have these opinions.
Yeah.
But
So these came from our friends, the Gardners, Golf and Jody Gardners, great friends of the show, who have been in Wrigley Field for games 1 and 2.
And they actually wore a exclusive.
She had an exclusive Pennant Grace shirt on, so
it was awesome.
More of that to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's kick things off. These are my picks. Now, I did not include the Braves in my picks just because I feel like it's a given. Oh, hey, Lunsford.
Thanks, Lance.
Thank you so much. So the Braves are not included, but we'll get started. So my first one is the Cleveland Guardians. And I love these uniforms. The rating that they got on ESPN, I think, was like an F or a D. So they're not very popular. You guys know I love navy and red. The material of them, classic. I love the stripe that goes all the way down. And that was actually why ESPN did not like them. They said it was a little too old school. Personally, this is a winner for me.
Can't be too old school. I like these too. That's a good choice.
Yeah, thank you. I like the stripe. Next up, the D-backs. So this
Oh, here we go.
Oh, it's
I think we're back. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
It's not dead, but
Live. Anything can happen when it's live.
anything can happen.
turn it off and back on and it worked.
World's premier cameraman, camera expert, Scott Forster, here joining us again.
Forster's a White Sox fan. What do you think of y'all City Connect
By the way,
jerseys?
good cut in here from Tim Melton, blacked out just like the Braves on TV.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
We'll take
Yeah.
it.
As they're doing that, you tell us a little bit. This one surprises me that you went with this. By the way.
I like the cream. And I also like the Spanish for snake. I think it looks really clean. And on TV, I feel like that's a great look. I just love a cream jersey.
Yeah.
I think it's not done enough.
Yeah, Braves did cream. I'm trying to think of when was that, like a Saturday or a Sunday, and I liked them a lot.
Yeah.
And they don't use them anymore.
I mean, I like our Friday reds the best personally. I also love the baby blue ones. That one is not in rotation.
Right.
And my brother actually had one of those jerseys, gave it to a girl in college, and we haven't seen it since.
Classic girl in college.
Yeah, needed it for a date party. All right, this is where we overlap.
Yeah.
The Angels. So you guys really can't see this one from a distance, but it's designed after the lifeguard stands of California. I think that's so creative. And again, I love just the red, how it pops, the script. You can't go wrong with it if you're an Alabama fan. Script, crimson, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did. I had this one on my list as well. Very classic look. Maybe better than their regular uniform, actually.
I would go as
not
far
sure
as
you
say
can
that.
say that about any other City Connects. So I'm not a big City Connect guy. I don't really love any City Connect jerseys. I would much prefer, if you're going to do that extra jersey, go back to allowing teams to have the retro jersey.
Yeah.
I would rather have the Braves mid-70s, complete mid-70s uniform, which is iconic and exquisite. We're robbed of the Phillies powder blue with the dark the burgundy, which I love those. Their City Connect uniforms are atrocious, by the way.
Like
Sorry,
them.
Trav, but they are. And so there's more good ones or more bad ones than good ones, and really most of the good ones are just okay ones to me.
I wish y'all could see what is taking place in front of us. Big thank you to Lunsford and Forrester. They are making it happen for us. And again, I wish I had a camera coming this way, because they are quite literally on their hands and knees making sure this live stream continues.
Frantically scrambling to bring you
the Pennant Grace.
The Pennant Grace today live.
So with that being said,
Yeah.
the City Connect jerseys, the purpose of them, if you guys don't know, it's to bridge the gap between the city and the team. So lots of teams will have different elements that pay homage to the team. For example, Boston, they do Boston Marathon numbers on the sides, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I do think there's a lot of history that they could play in on with the city of Boston, but I do like the yellow and blue and the little patches.
Yeah, Daniel chiming in here. He also likes those cream off-white jerseys the Braves have worn, which they still wear.
Yeah. Okay, time for your picks.
So my picks were
The Braves.
the Atlanta Braves. That's a homer pick, but I would not go with it if I didn't feel that way. I think they're the best City Connect uniforms. I do prefer the straight retro than what these are, which are inspired by those 70s uniforms. And so not as good as the retro, but to me, the best City Connect. Love the color scheme, good look. Would prefer just say A rather than the A. That's a minor.
That's controversial for a lot of people, is the A versus the A. One thing about Acuna I love how he coordinates his guards and gear to the uniform.
To
I
match
think it looks
and matching the quick creep, the sponsor patch there. I've never known anyone call Atlanta the A.
The A. And I'm from Atlanta, and I think I've heard it maybe as a joking term. I'm not like, oh, let's go down to the A.
Yeah, so Reed Taylor, shocker. El Presidente, the Dodgers are not on my list because the Dodgers uniform is perfection. And to me, it's Dodgers, Yankees. Those are just the two if you're going to –
and Boston.
Yeah, that you just don't mess with at all. And so the Braves have more combinations anyway, and the Dodgers, the Dodgers actually would have made the list because they're not bad, but
the Los Bravos or the Los
Dodgers.
But
I don't want that touched at all.
Yeah. All right, next up, Angels. This is another variation. I gave you the 2022 ones. They just look good. They really do. That script is awesome.
Yeah, good looking uniform. Like you said, it's a classic look, and you can't go wrong with the classics.
The pouch looks good too.
Yeah, love it.
Okay, I almost put this one, but I didn't because we were going to overlap again.
Yeah. Texas Rangers, I'm not crazy about having one color pants and a different color top, but I do think that's a cool looking logo. And I don't know, I just kind of like these. There were several I considered for this third slot, but ended up going with this. Scott Forster says nobody has better City Connect unis than the White Sox. Sadly, almost everyone has a better baseball team. They were one of those teams that I considered for the third slot. The Brewers and the White Sox, Mariners, those were my next three up. So those were my honorable mentions.
Well, I did do honorable mentions.
Of course you did. Yep.
So I did have the Brewers.
Yeah, Brew Crew.
I love that.
Love it.
Looks so good. This is another example of different top and different bottom. I didn't know that bothered you.
I don't know if it bothers me. It's just not my favorite.
It's like a clean monochromatic look.
Great color scheme here. Love the two-tone blue with the gold. That's a good look.
And I love that stripe. I love the piping on the side of the pants. Yeah. I also like when we have the stirrup look too. Ozzy always does it for us. And Dansby sometimes does it with the socks showing. Mm-hmm. I think that looks so good. But a lot of these City Connect uniforms, they have really cool socks, but you never see them because the players aren't wearing them like that.
Right.
Okay, next honorable mention, the Padres. Now, I slandered their regular season uniform, did I not?
You did.
And this is my honorable mention for a couple of reasons. I love the colors. Now, if I could change this to Miami, I would love it even more.
Yeah.
I love the mint green. I love the pink. I don't love this goldish orange we have going on. I love the belt. I love the piping. But this looks more Miami to me.
If I could change everything about it, I think I would like these.
What, it's too colorful?
None of this works for me. No, none of it.
I like the fonts of the numbers too. I think it's really cool.
Really, really good 12U travel team. Look.
And that's my last honorable mention, actually. I said two.
Krusty says Pittsburgh needs to keep the City Connect unis along with the White Sox.
The White Sox, yeah.
Pittsburgh heavily featuring the gold. Those aren't bad.
Yeah.
Again, just the Cardinals, theirs just came out.
Yeah.
I forget the player's name. I should know that. They interviewed him. And what are your thoughts on the new City Connect jerseys? And his response, well, they're City Connect jerseys, aren't they? And he doesn't like them, and I don't either. We talked about those as iconic uniforms that you don't want to see messed with. The Braves are in a series with a team with iconic uniforms that you wouldn't mess with. Their City Connects are okay, the Cubs.
They're my favorite.
But, again, the Cubs and pinstripes is perfection.
Right. If you guys could change one thing on the Braves uniforms, any of them, what would it be? What would yours be?
I would bring back those cream uniforms, honestly, that Daniel referenced. I think that
the cream is the best?
Yeah, I like those. Those were really classic baseball uniform look. There's a lot of good uniforms in Braves lore. We mentioned the mid-'70s Hank Aaron ones, but also you have several different during Dale Murphy, powder blues. They did a pinstripe in the 80s that looked really good.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, those are a good look. They incorporate a little red into them. But if you look at Boston, Milwaukee, and initially in Atlanta, which is essentially the regular Braves home uniform, I think it is their best uniform. So Tom says bring back the White Sox short pants.
Classic.
Yeah, so that was, a thing when the White Sox played in shorts in the 70s, and it is a look. Talking to Scott Forster, the White Sox, one of those teams that changed their uniforms. Trying to think of when maybe 91 to what they have now, and one of the few that you see that changed for the better. Usually, when a team changes, it's like, oh, bring back the old ones. Although I like the Trident logo, I would say the Mariners are another that when they changed in the early 90s, I thought was a good change. That navy teal, those are good uniforms. Good.
Do you find yourself purchasing, when you guys are in the market for a jersey, do you ever get the City Connect, or do you keep it simple, Friday Reds, the navy whites? What is in the rotation?
I don't know. I like the Braves gray, road.
Oh, yeah, the gray.
Just all gray with the navy hat that doesn't have the red bill. I think those look good. Friend of the show, Travis Millsaps. Trav. My brother was in Cleveland yesterday for the Mets Guardians, and he texted how much he liked their City Connects. Trav, you talking Guardians there or Mets?
Because Guardians
We agree is a
back.
good look. Mets, I'm not crazy about.
Yeah, I don't love the Mets either.
Krusty asks, any idea what uniforms the two teams are going to wear in Birmingham? That's a great question.
That is.
I would think, I don't think there's a chance they'd wear City Connect, but it would be cool to see them wear like a retro type thing.
I think so too.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting. I wonder if they'll do something special for it. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Doing like an exclusive jersey, also boost jersey sales, things like that. That's a good question. We can work on finding that out.
Yeah, and Trav clarifying there that it's Cleveland that he's talking about. So good call there. We agree with you on that.
I think this one leans the most retro out of our picks.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for it. It's classic. I even like the material. And they said that the material is actually after the Guardians of Traffic statue that they have. Have you heard of those?
No.
I haven't either. Apparently, if you guys know what we're talking about, the Guardians of Traffic, they have that in Cleveland.
Okay.
And apparently it was enough to get their team named after them and do a whole uniform moment.
Cleveland to me is in Tennessee, Cleveland, Tennessee, home of Cleveland State Community College.
Nice.
Golf Gardner, legend there on the hardwood. So get your questions in now. We'll just open that up where you can ask. It can be about the Braves, it can be anything Major League Baseball. It can be about what's in EG's closet.
Yes, would love to do a closet
It
tour.
can be about Gurley or Sonny or Bella, the dogs of the Pennant Grace. It can be about anything.
Yeah,
So we
I actually got
accept
to
all
meet
questions.
Sonny and Bella for dinner the other night. And Sonny is a fabulous dog, you can just tell. And apparently Bella is a little bit of a
dog. So Sonny is a fabulous dog and Bella is a dog. That is what you're saying. I agree.
Yeah, Gurley is.
That's pretty spot on. So while we're waiting for some of these questions to come in, we've got 2 games into the series. We've got another game coming up.
We do.
And I want to touch on game 1 first.
Okay, let's do it.
It was exactly what we predicted. We thought it was going to be it was a good game. Obviously, heartbreaking to lose. You lose in extra innings, but that was a really good, well-played baseball game. It was low scoring.
It was.
Which is what we thought with those 2 pitchers. It was going to be. And the thing that stood out to me in that game was how many great defensive plays there.
For sure. And that's something to be a bright spot. We talk about what's the bright spot? What can we look forward to? Getting walked off, though, that has happened to us one too many times for my liking. And it doesn't seem like we're doing it enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Would like to see that a little bit more. But, being in it, and you hate to put Joe Jimenez in a negative light. They obviously had a bad outing. He's been great this season.
He's been so solid.
Yeah.
One thing, so I figured out a way to watch the Braves because we're still in dispute. I'm curious what you guys are up to with that. And I thought I had it figured out. So last series against the Padres, there's an app called Twitch, and it's usually for streaming like video games and things like that.
Next Round is available on Twitch.
Next Round is. And so friend of the show, Tim Melton, said, hey, check it out. I bet someone is trying to capitalize on this and they're streaming games. Turns out the stream I was watching was a Padres fan. So he streams all of the Padres games, not games as a whole. And so I looked and so I'm back to square one, and I really don't want to play for Fubo because they want to charge my card up front, the $99, and I just want to do the free trial and keep changing my email.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah, back to the drawing board
for you.
So if anyone's figured it out, let me know.
Tom, my dog is a Bella too.
Sweet.
I hope, Bella is a sweet dog. She's just kind of high energy and a little high maintenance on some things. Mr. B, one team, this is his suggestion for the game at Rickwood Field. One team wear retro Barons and the other team wear the old black Barons uni, which is a great idea from Mr. B. I really like that. Yeah. The 3B logo there, classic from the Black Barons. So that's a cool idea. We'll see what they do. A lot of Pennant Grace viewers interested in fashion.
Really? Let's hear it.
Yeah. Nick suggests for you that you have a good old conversation with old Tommy Firestick. Yeah. Have you thought about going that route?
I have not, but I can consider it. I like all of the fashion discussion.
Yeah. So Tommy Firestick, that's a friend of Lance's that'll get you maybe access so you can watch the Braves. Got a question. Thank you, Trav. Great question. Who are your top 3 all-time Braves?
So you actually asked me this question every once in a while on my Instagram. I'll do like an Ask Me Anything type thing. and it's always fun. It's just when I'm traveling. And you asked me this question back in April.
Mhm.
So mine are Brandon Beachy, and I think you guys have heard the story by now, but long story short, little kid going to Turner Field, and I caught his attention with my little pigtails when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. And he basically just paid special attention to me. And there was a stretch where we were going to games. And so every time I sought out Brandon Beach when he was in the outfield, give me a foul ball. That's my first one. Give me your first one.
Well, first I'll say about Brandon Beachy, a great what could have been.
For sure.
Had not experienced injuries, kind of a forgotten name.
Right.
Really, really good player. I am going to go with Ozzie Albies. Ozzie Albies, our current second baseman and beloved by Braves fans, is my mother's favorite.
He's my mom's
player.
too.
Yeah, how about that? Moms love moms love Ozzie.
Yeah.
I love the way he carries himself. I love the way that he plays the game, just his entire demeanor, and I love his game. I just love watching him play. I love watching him on the base path. Just a great player. I think he's one of those that if you're not a Braves fan, we talked about this with Mookie Betts.
Mm-hmm.
We're obviously not Dodgers fans. I love Mookie Betts. I just think he's such a great player and such a great representative of the game. I think if you're not a Braves fan, you can look at someone like Ozzie Albies and say, I appreciate that.
I agree. Fundamentally, too, he just plays solid baseball. Off the field, I love his foundation. The Ozzie Albies Foundation helps dogs, and like the catch line is defending those that are defenseless, that can't defend themselves. And we talked about it a few episodes ago, but on his off day, he had a tennis ball party and brought 200 tennis balls to his dogs. And that was sweet to me. But he's very active in the community. His wife is also awesome. Mm-hmm. She was Miss Brazil at one point, so he's doing well for himself.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, who's next on
number
your list?
2. This is, I guess, more unsung for me compared to all time. I love Charlie Culberson. I loved when he was on our team. He was so valuable to me as a player.
So that's gonna.
Hey, sorry about that.
They got shot there.
Technical issues, possible sabotage. We don't know what's going on with that.
Now we have Reed Taylor in the house too.
Yeah, so Scott Forrester, John Lunsford, Reed Taylor, the stars are out today for the pennant grace.
Anyways, Charlie Culberson.
Charlie Culberson. Charlie Culberson.
I love his family. I hate kind of his history with the Braves as far as we give him hope and then we don't give him hope. And I think he is finally now hanging his cleats up as far as I'm concerned. Do you know?
I don't know what this latest thing was trying to catch on as a pitcher, and I'm not sure if it's completely done yet with him or not. But I really always liked him a lot too. And he was very popular with the fan base.
He was. I think having those guys, that was an era where we had so much depth, and I think we still do. That's one of the strengths that the Braves have. But he was so reliable. He was just a utility guy. He could do anything if you needed him to. He could pitch. He could be in the outfield. You name it. And he could hit.
Yeah.
He was a good one. Okay, number 2 for you.
Chipper Jones.
Of course.
So just such a really good third baseman. The longevity, playing his career with the Braves for his entire career. But to me, just the art of hitting. And Chipper Jones, one of the first people I think of is just in terms of being a tremendous hitter who could hit for average and also hit for power. When you talk about switch hitters, he's in that very small list of the all-time best, usually mentioned with Eddie Murray and Mickey Mantle. That's good company to keep. Really the symbol of Atlanta sports in a lot of ways for the last 30 years, I'd say, and will be a Braves legend forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chipper Jones.
Did you go to his last game?
I was not, and I'm trying to think I think I had friends that were there.
I was there. So I remember I wore a shirt homemade. I need to find a picture of it that said, "Thank you, Larry." And I thought I was so funny because I figured out his name was actually Larry. He also lived in a neighborhood near my house. And on Halloween, he'd give out baseball cards to all the little kids.
Yeah.
If he was in town, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. By the way, SK says someone heard the Padres City Connect uni take and just ended our stream. So,
dang.
So people
that's okay.
may not like your ice cream parlor look there.
But that's okay because I think the bar for the Padres is so low with their uniforms. It's like, I like the different, mix it up. I don't love your normal uniform. So I like to see you kind of branching out because why not?
I like it. Who you got next on your list?
Next, and again, I'm doing kind of unsung because I feel like a few of ours would overlap.
Yeah.
So another unsung, Kurt Suzuki. He was awesome.
Yeah,
that was like 20. I don't know exactly when he started with the Braves. Probably 2017.
I was gonna say 17. Sounds
and then
right.
was there till 20, 21. Mm-hmm. He was awesome to me. I just loved him behind the plate. Again, one of those players. It seemed like he was a clubhouse guy, and just those are kinds of players similar to Adam Duvall that I feel like is great to have in the clubhouse, and those are the people that you build a World Series on.
Yeah, had clutch hits as well.
Yes,
This guy that came up with big hits.
Mm-hmm.
Krusty wants to know, Biff Porker, I'm trying to say that correctly. Pocaraba or Matt Harbowski, don't have them. Do have Jesse Chavez.
Yeah.
And so my list probably change every day because there's so many players that I love over time. But Jesse Chavez, who's had so many tenures with the Braves alone, but do you look at his baseball card is like a CVS receipt. He's played for so many different teams. I love his attitude. I love how much his teammates love him, and nothing fires me up than seeing him coming out and having knocking out a really good inning. He's just a guy that he's beloved and everyone pulls for him. The sense of fashion. Who could forget him at the World Series parade? What a good look that was.
That was a good look.
Pulls it off. The glasses. It's just I love him.
Yeah, I do too. I also love when we see during games when there's a home run in the bullpen with the little tomahawks. I think that is the cutest thing ever.
I like it a lot. Yeah.
Is there any other questions in there? I
don't have any questions coming in from the chat. I have a question from you. Or for you. So when you think about Truist, obviously that's the park we're most likely to go to, being Braves fans. What do you think is the long-term? Stadiums just don't last like they used to.
I agree.
And so I think Turner Field opened in the '97 season because they used it for the Olympics.
Yep.
And so. It made it, about 20 years. And, but the way that it's been built and everything around it, which we've talked about with Truist, do you think it could be like one of these staples that lasts? I mentioned this is front of mind because the Braves right now are playing at Wrigley Field, which has stood the test of time and is not going to go anywhere. Fenway's not going to go anywhere. But others we've seen come down.
Yeah.
And Atlanta, the Braves have had three stadiums since they've been an Atlanta franchise, which goes back to 1966, I believe. I
do think it has potential to have that tenure, if you will, as a stadium. I think that what they're doing around stadiums right now, and we've talked about this, is huge because you're drawing people to that area and they're creating memories even outside of the ballpark experience, which I think is really important because the more you can get your kids asking, hey, can we go to the Battery? Absolutely. Hey, can we go to a Braves game tonight? Absolutely. One thing I think will help it is the ease of entry into it. Mm-hmm. If you're coming from Atlanta, it's really easy. If you're coming from Marietta, Smyrna, Birmingham, it's a very accessible place to get into and get out of. Whereas Turner Field, that was not the case.
Right.
It was, you had to plan for Atlanta traffic on 75. You had to plan to park. So the area around it is lending itself to be, I feel like, more long-term. But do I think it'll ever be as classic as Fenway and Yankee Stadium and places like that? No. Wrigley Field. But I think in this new age of stadiums, it's going to be around for a while.
I think so too. I think it has a chance to be around for a really long time, and they can continue to tweak it and add things to it. But it's so fan friendly.
It is
the way it's set up, all the reasons that you mentioned. Is there a particular area that you like to sit that you think, oh, this is the best place to sit and watch the game?
So there truly is not a bad place in Truist. I think I have pretty much done my rounds of different locations. I love the outfield. That is where my brother and sister-in-law, they have their season tickets, and my parents have theirs. And it's just such a fun environment too. We were actually sitting there when Ronald Acuna hit the grand slam against the Dodgers in 2018. And I just love that viewpoint. But really, there's no bad seat. I think that food-wise, too, in the outfield, you're right near everything.
Yeah.
And if you're a mom, this is new. I didn't know that this was a thing. There is a mom and baby station that's literally right in the outfield, right by that gate. And if you're nursing, if you have little kids, you can actually go back there. It's a nursing lounge, a nice bathroom. And I think that's also a really cool touch.
Yeah. I've told you about that, sitting front row of the outfield. Loved it.
Yeah.
I think Chop House is real popular. Talking to a friend the other day, was talking about, I was in the upper deck. And he's like, but the way they did it with the sight lines, they were great seats.
Yeah.
And we really loved being up there.
It's not bad.
Not a bad seat
I
there.
actually know. So Brassfield and Gorey, I think, were the construction unit that built Truist. And yeah, it was. And so there's actually a girl in my small group at church. Her name is Libby. And her dad helped build Truist from a higher up standpoint. And so their names are in one of the rafters. He wrote her name and their son's name, and it's somewhere in Truist. So that was pretty cool.
Nick says does not like sitting in the outfield. You can't see the big scoreboards.
That's
a good point.
Nick. That's true, because you're having to go to your left to look up, and you can't see it. That is a good point. I don't mind that as much because of the other view you're getting. But if you like to look at the scoreboard, which a lot of people do, there's no right or wrong to that. The outfield probably isn't the best. And if you're, closer in, you're really stuck.
Yeah.
Trying to look up.
Mr. B, and then don't forget Mark Lemke, whose wife was on the Weather Channel.
Oh my goodness.
Everybody loves the Limmer, and
Yes.
used to be a part of the broadcast, did some radio games as well after his playing days were over. But definitely a name that's
He's
well
awesome.
remembered by Braves fans. Got a great question here from Matt.
Okay.
Losing Dansby a few years ago and now losing Ron Washington. I'll go ahead and chime in and throw in Eric Young in this, which Buster talked about on the next round today. I think the clubhouse culture has gone down a bit. What do y'all think about the current clubhouse culture? I want to speak directly to Ron Washington. I don't think you can overstate Ron and Eric Young's importance to the team, to the performance, and to the culture. I think they were big parts of that culture.
I think so too.
The way that those infielders especially worked with those guys, that you could tell how much they valued their input, their mentorship, things like that, in addition to being just good at their jobs on the field.
Yeah.
I do think they were big pieces of that. Dansby was a big piece of that culture, as was Freddie Freeman, of course. But I see the people in there now. I still think it's a very good culture.
It is.
We talked with Jake Peavy about this at the Regions, and one of the things that Jake brought up about the Braves is one of their strengths being their culture. And he's like, I've been there, been in their clubhouse. That's a good culture of guys. I do think, and Buster brought up about Ronald Acuna, and he tied it specifically to Eric Young Sr., if that's an issue as far as on the field. What Matt is asking about here is as far as from a clubhouse culture. So what is your take on that?
My take on that is, this might be unpopular. I don't know if Dansby really played too much into the culture. I think he was important, but I don't think he was the most important that we've had. I think what Freddie added was leadership. And I think that we lost that when Freddie left. We needed someone to kind of bring in the young guys, and I think Ozzie can be that. But then you have guys like Adam Duvall that I think need to be it. He's been on multiple World Series winning rosters, and we were talking to Jake Peavy about it. He's one of those guys, you look where he goes, and success usually happens.
Yeah.
I love what Arcia is doing in the clubhouse. I think Acuna not performing to his capabilities is probably affecting it a little bit, but it does feel different. And I think it's about someone stepping up into that role. Money Mike, he's awesome.
Absolutely.
But Jake Peavy also did say something I think we need to share with our Braves fans. the Phillies have a really good clubhouse.
Yeah.
And he specifically said that when he was going around to spring training, it was the Phillies that stuck out to him the most.
Yeah.
As a Braves fan, that makes me a little sad because in my mind, I know all these guys. It feels like we could invite them over to dinner and it would be like catching up with an old friend.
Right.
But when we get to October, we don't have a Jock Peterson anymore.
Yeah.
And we need a Jock Peterson. They have Bryce Elder, and it works for them.
Right.
So
Bryce Harper.
Bryce
Yeah.
Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper.
Bryce Elder is in Gwinnett.
Bryce Harper is not getting sent down anytime soon.
No, he's not.
You mentioned Adam Duvall, and I want to make sure we can close with this one, or we can take more, whichever you prefer to do. But I want to make sure we get to talk about game 2 because we talked about game 1, didn't talk about game 2. And friend of the show, Benny Rose, brought this up to me yesterday before last night's game. He said, I don't think Adam Duvall is a guy that you can just plug in there from time to time. He needs reps.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be in there. And Benny was, I really wish we could see more of him. I love Kelnick's defense, and he just raved about Kelnick's defense. But he's like, man, I miss what Duvall can bring to us offensively. Go to last night's game. Great offensive performance. We're going to get to a little bit more about that game, but great offense, and a big part of that and getting the party started was Adam Duvall.
And his last consecutive game was in April 2023.
Right.
Which is crazy.
What do you do in left field?
I don't know, because I almost want to take the stance of Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl, who they have such a stacked roster that their players are okay with, I may not play however many minutes, but I'm going to do what's best for the team. And I think in left field, that's the mindset that needs to happen. Whoever's going to be best for that role. And it's hard because I don't necessarily want them being switched out, but I think there could be some fluidity in who's playing what. And I do want to see more of Duvall. I love Kelnick. It's not that I don't like him. I think we have an advantage of depth and we should utilize it more.
Same. Big fan of Kelnick, but Duvall, going back to Jake Peavy, raved about Adam Duvall. He said such a great move for Atlanta to bring him back. He is exactly what the clubhouse needs. His teammates love him, and we saw what he can bring. So last night, obviously the offense, tremendous. We see back-to-back home runs again from Marcell and Matt Olson. We've seen that before. Now we see it again. Story of the night, though, is Max Fried.
Yeah.
And, it's not June, and we already have 2 complete games from Max.
That's huge. It's the highest in the MLB right now. And it makes me sad that we don't really know what his future is going to be in an Atlanta uniform. I think he's proving a case for himself. But to go back-to-back with 2 complete games, essentially, that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it says what kind of player that he is, and when he's performing at his highest, that's what you're going to get.
Well, went through this in Dansby's last year. Are they going to re-sign him? Are they going to re-sign him? Is he going to go to free agency? And really sweated it out in Freddie's last year, and we all know how that turned out. I would love to see Max Fried re-signed. I would love to see Max Fried play his entire career as an Atlanta Brave. I love what he brings, again, of all the guys, and I love him in that rotation. The guy I have the most confidence in, it's a big game. Who do I want on the mound for Atlanta? I want Max Fried.
He is proving he's an ace. That is who he is, and I love that we're getting to experience it. One thing about that game, too, which is interesting, so between Duvall's home run, Azuna's home run, and Olson's home run, Duvall's actually went the furthest, but had the lowest exit velocity.
Interesting.
Isn't that so interesting? So Duvall, it was 103 off the bat, 423 feet. For Ozuna, it was 107 off the bat. And then Olson was 105. Azuna's going at 394 and Olson 400 feet.
All about where you hit it, I guess, right?
I guess so.
One more here from James. Going back to the culture talk, I think not having Sean Murphy doesn't help either. That's a really good point, James.
That is a good point.
And we barely touched on him. We talked about him last episode. He is in Gwinnett right now.
Yeah.
Had a home run for
Joining Bryce Elder.
Gwinnett. Yeah. So his first at bat, I believe, was a home run. And I do think Sean Murphy, I could see being that strong silent type and in terms of setting that culture, and I think that those kind of guys are important as well.
One other thing I want to talk about, Zach Short. He had an RBI bunt single last night. Zach Short, we've talked about him a few times, and I think I like the depth that we now have behind Austin Riley. Kind of unexpected. Obviously want to see Riley back sooner than later, but I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, but it's not something that you don't see very often from Atlanta. They've gone long stretches of time without any bunts, and had that, and then the way that second run was scored for Chicago was a real weird one as well, where it was a strikeout, still, and but wild pitch scored a run.
Yep.
So that one was unique as well. That's all I have here. Do you have anything else? You have anything for me?
Quick, just some trade rumors. I know you guys have kind of been wondering, wanted to ask Buster about that. So from Bob Nightingale, Atlanta is keeping a close eye on Tampa Bay veteran starter Zach Eflin if they decide they need another starter at the deadline. So he's a former Philly, and he was with them from 2016 to 2022. He's under contract through 2025, 3 years, $40 million, had 16 wins in 2023.
Okay.
So that's someone to kind of keep an eye on. And then also Marlins Jesus Luzardo. So against the Brewers on Wednesday, he had 8 innings pitched, 3 hits, 0 walks, and had 100 pitches, lefty. Yeah,
I want to see what you guys think about those two. Are those one of those guys, someone that you would make a move for?
Yeah.
If so, which one? Who would you go after? That would be good to hear about, to see. We talked about this on Monday. We both think there'll be a little tinkering going on for the Braves. And so those are two to watch out for. And those are 2 intriguing names to me.
And we're getting closer, crazily enough. I know kids are starting to get out for summer. I love this time of year because it feels like baseball is in full swing. And I'm ready to get out to a game. It's been almost a month since I've been there.
Yeah.
It's a month too long.
Yeah.
Let us know if you guys are going to any games. Few housekeeping. Make sure you're following us on @the Pennant Grace on X and Instagram. We did just do a giveaway. Scott Guy won. We need to reach out to him and let him know that he won.
Yeah, I need
Scott
to hear
Guy,
from you,
you won
Scott.
again.
Yeah.
That was in our last episode. He won this Hank Aaron bobblehead. We're going to do more giveaways. So we'll keep you guys updated on what that is, but we want to grow this platform together with you guys.
Yeah, PG20, when you check out at Roback, make sure you're checking them out. Use that code. It's going to save you 20%. Hopefully the Braves win the series today. That's not a night game. They are about to get that thing started. So hopefully the Braves get that win over the Cubs. This is a stretch where you don't have a lot of days off, and so no days off until the 3rd. So getting those series wins, moving forward, having some momentum. So hope to see a good get another win today.
Absolutely. And thanks for sticking with us through some technical difficulties. We'll get better with each time we do this. Let us know if you like the live stream format compared to the pre-recorded. We're willing to do both. And then again, in these next upcoming weeks with the schedule so crazy, we may have some live streams where we're at the beach and we're checking in that way. But we are excited for the Pennant Grace, and thanks for tuning in for this first episode.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.